everyone. There's always a little bit of a delay there. This is Rebecca Kokendorfer with Homeschool.com. I'm going to be speaking with you today about why I think that you might really like to go to a homeschool convention. And I'm going to list some benefits for that, why it's kind of worth your time and worth the money to go. And I'm going to stall around here for a few minutes while I wait for people to come in. And when you come in, be sure to write something in the comment line so that I know you're there and I can say hello to you. So this is Rebecca Kokendorfer with Homeschool.com. And I remember my first homeschool convention. It was in Sacramento, California. It was many years ago. I was not homeschooling yet. I'd been reading books by John Taylor Gatto and by John Holt. And, the ideas were very intriguing, a little scary, also because they were so different, but really intriguing. And so I thought that I would go to a homeschool convention to see what it was really like. And when I arrived at the Sacramento conference, I was so impressed because they had teenagers escorting the speakers around. They had a teenager as a photographer. And so the kids were really involved with it. And I went over to the phone and I called my husband. I said, oh my gosh, you have to come here. You have to see this. This is just what we're looking for. These kids are turning out great. All that stuff about not being properly socialized, oh my goodness, couldn't be less correct. These kids were well-mannered and they were skilled and they were doing what they believed in. It was just so impressive. So when I went to that conference, I knew that I wanted to homeschool. So you might, if you're just kind of on the fence about homeschooling or you're curious about it, go to a homeschooling convention in your area and see firsthand where you can feel it. See the people that are there, see how well these kids grow up. There are also some practical benefits too for going to a convention, and that's the curriculum. Hello there. Someone just came in. Hey, write your name down there so I can say hi to you. I hate just talking to myself. I so much prefer when you guys are there and I can say hi to you. But the curriculum part of the convention is the best part. And you'll have to be careful because for homeschoolers, this is our candy store, right? Curriculum. So maybe before you go, set a budget. But it really is advantageous because you can meet the curriculum provider. Sometimes they have discounts. You can touch and go through the curriculum, and that is so much better. Hello, Teresa. So nice to see you. Teresa, what state are you in? And have you ever been to a homeschool conference, a homeschool convention? As I was saying, the convention, my first one was in Sacramento, California. And it was an eclectic conference. So it had a little bit of everything. And honestly, if that convention is great. Now this year, Homeschool.com is hosting the parenting track of great homeschool conventions. That's a huge conference in several different places around the United States. So if you go to that conference, you might want to bring like a little travel suitcase or some kind of a rolling cart because they'll have lots of great samples and it gets to be a little heavy. Hi. Yes. Oh, you're in Maine. Oh, hi, Teresa. So I'd love to know how many times, Teresa, have you gone to a convention? And she says, my son does online public school. Oh, how is that working for him? And what grade is he in? Fortunately, with homeschooling, there's lots of different right ways to homeschool. You can homeschool through a support group. You can become your own private school. You can use a charter school. Lots of different ways. So he's doing a couple of different online public schools, or he's doing a couple of different grades. Is he junior high school or high school, Teresa? Oh, I see what you mean. We're having a delay here. So you have been to, I wish I could see you and talk to you, Teresa. So you have been to a couple of homeschooling conferences. Okay. And your son is in the 9th grade and you both love it. Oh, that's wonderful. Do you feel comfortable sharing the name of the program that you're using, especially since you like it and you both love it? I think other people might like to hear about it too. And Teresa, too, I'll just keep putting you on the spot if you don't mind. What is one of your favorite reasons for going to a homeschooling convention? What do you see as some of the benefits? And I'll read those out too. I'll read those out loud. So for me, the benefits were, one, I was new to homeschooling, just thinking about it, and I was able to see the homeschoolers, particularly these homeschool teens, who I think homeschool.teens are so impressive. They're so mature and they're so well-spoken. And it was such a comfort to go and see these incredible kids as the photographer, as the ushers, driving the speakers around, helping people find the right places to go. It's really cool. Oh, good. I think that you are typing, Teresa. Another benefit, too, is that curriculum hall, as I was saying. You get a chance to really go through the curriculum and kind of feel it and meet the person. And, of course, you're meeting with other homeschoolers, too. So you get a chance to say, hey, do you like this curriculum? How is this working for you? Bearing in mind, of course, that what works for one homeschooler, it doesn't mean that it will work for you or for your child, right? Because we're all so different. And the beauty of homeschooling, of course, is that we are customizing it to fit our own family and our children's needs. So it says that you went years ago to conventions, probably when you were first starting. So I noticed too, I went a lot in the beginning years, but then I also went if I felt like I was stuck at all and I needed some inspiration, because I really like the speakers. It's so nice to be able to meet the speaker. And if you're there, go up and be sure to shake the hand of the speaker and thank them. It's very scary being a speaker. I'm doing some conventions this year. Normally, I never do because I'm quite an introvert, and I find the noisy conventions can be a bit tiring for me. I have some advice for you about that, too, if you are also an introvert. But they're so inspiring, and it's so great to hear from these veteran speakers who are having the courage to stand up in front of people and try to help, to try to pass back to the next generation. So Teresa, it says that you know a few homeschoolers. Oh, that's great. Yeah, homeschoolers are great. The conventions have good children's programs. So that is really nice too, because sometimes your kids can feel a little different. Not so much nowadays as it was before. I lived on a 4-house cul-de-sac, and in our 4 houses, each one went to a different kind of school. So we homeschooled. The person next to us went to a Christian school. The person next to her went to a Catholic school, and the next person went to a public school. So there's not the stigma that you would think for homeschooling, but still it's nice for the kids to get together with other homeschooled kids and to have a great time. And it's nice for you two parents to get together with other homeschooling parents. So, be brave. And I say this because obviously speaking as an introvert, be brave and try to meet those other homeschooling parents. Do you know what the difference is, the true difference between an introvert and an extrovert? It isn't that introverts have bad people skills and extroverts don't. It's how you recharge. So introverts recharge by being by themselves or with one other person or by having quiet time. Extroverts recharge by being in a group. So if you are an extrovert, you may find these conventions to be very energizing. And in general, they are anyway. But if you are an introvert, like I am, when I go to a conference, I have to make sure that I give myself some alone time, some Netflix time, some quiet reading time to recharge my battery. So the difference between an introvert and an extrovert is how you recharge your battery. So, one of my tips for you when you're going to a conference is if you are an introvert, make sure you take good care of yourself and allow yourself to have some quiet time. Oh, bye, Teresa. Thank you so much for coming. I'd love to hear more about homeschooling in Maine. Thank you for being here. If anyone else has joined us, be sure to write something in the comment line so that I'll know you're there. I would love to say hi to you, and I'd love to find out what state you're in. And even if you're watching the video, I understand we have busy lives. I love it when you're here live, but watching the video is great too. So maybe write something in the comments line, and tell me what state you're at. Okay, I'm going to look here at my notes here for a minute because I want to give you Homeschool.com's speaking calendar coming up. So I'm so pleased. Homeschool.com is sponsoring the parenting track of great homeschool conventions. And it's very exciting. For example, coming up right now, March 8th through 10th, are any of you in Greenville, South Carolina? If you're in Greenville, South Carolina, do a thumbs up or a heart, because Jamie Gaddy is at the conference this weekend. I hope you're having a great time, and it's not too late. You can even show up last minute and get tickets. It's fantastic. And so Jamie is speaking at the South Carolina, the Greenville conference. And then right next week, Jamie is speaking at the March 15th and 17th conference. And that's in Houston, Texas. So if you're watching this video and you're from Houston, Texas, I'd love to see a thumbs up. Texas is huge in homeschooling. I wish that I were going to Houston to that conference. But if you are in Cincinnati, I will have a chance to meet you in person. I'm going to be speaking at the Cincinnati Great Homeschool Convention from April 12th through 14th. I'm really looking forward to it. That's in the parenting track, and it's going to be wonderful. So be sure and come up and say hi to me if you're there, and let me know that we've met via Facebook. I'm also going to be speaking June 14th and 16th in Ontario, California. Not Ontario, Canada, but there is an Ontario down there in Southern California. And that should be a really a fun group and a big group. I'm really looking forward to that. If you're in Ontario or you're a Southern California homeschooler, I would love to meet you. I homeschooled up in Northern California. So our state laws are the same, but it's a very different environment, isn't it? So I would love to meet you. Hello there. I can't quite see your name. Lolimar? Bauza? Neat name. Hi. Oh, from Texas. Wonderful. Are you going to be going to the Houston conference? That is, Houston is March 15th through 17th. If you do, go up and say hi to Jamie Gaddy. She's going to be speaking about working in homeschooling. Such a great topic, isn't it? Because many homeschoolers, we work from home or we work part-time. You're going to be there. Wonderful. I spoke at the Cincinnati Great Homeschool Conference about 5 years ago, and it was wonderful. I so enjoyed it. Huge crowd. Oh, good. Yes, go up and say hi to Jamie. Also look for Karen White. Go to the Homeschool.com booth. I wish I was going to be there to say hi to you in person. Oh, that's wonderful. I'm so glad you're here. It's so great. I love having somebody to talk to instead of just talking to myself. It's really good. Well, I only wish that you could come over to California, but one of the tips for you about conferences is it is great to go to one that's in your area because they know the laws. Each state, of course, has different homeschooling laws, and so they know the laws in that particular state. But even, for example, the Midwest goes to Cincinnati. They use it as a vacation or as a field trip, and the whole family goes, and they have great kids programs, and, what a wonderful thing you're showing your children too. Oh, yeah, I would love to meet you too. So, how have you been to a homeschooling convention before in Texas, or is this your first time? And if you could type in too for me, how long have you been homeschooling? If your children are watching this, be sure to type in their name so that I can say hi to them. So I'm going to look at my notes here for a minute because I want to make sure I gave you the really good tips. Okay, so once again, here are the advantages, the benefits of going to a homeschool conference. So biggest benefit is, number one, you get to see and touch the curriculum before you buy it. And oftentimes there are sales too at the convention. Sometimes they even sell used curriculum, so look for that. But be careful because I always tend to overspend when I go to these conferences because I love everything. And so you may want to set a dollar amount before you go. Because as I said, homeschoolers in a curriculum convention is like a kid in a candy store. That is our candy. Oh, it's your first time. Oh, you're going to love it. It's so great. And you have really good speakers. I'm so excited for you. Another benefit too is you get to listen to these fantastic speakers, and be sure to meet them. Go up afterwards and shake their hand and thank them. Because as I said, it takes so much courage to be a speaker. And I speak from personal experience now because I want to give back now, because I homeschooled for 20 years, all the way from pregnancy through high school graduation. So that's why I'm starting to speak at these conferences too, because I so appreciated the people who spoke at the conventions when I was first starting out. It was such a comfort to be able to hear their story and to hear their enthusiasm for homeschooling. Yeah, another benefit for you is that you're going to find it really energizing. You're going to come away with so many great ideas, so many great takeaways and notes. That's really great. Are you bringing your children to the conference with you? Because I believe that your conference in Houston has an excellent children's program. So if you're still there, please let me know if you're bringing your children. I see that you're typing. Oh yeah, another benefit, of course, is meeting these other homeschoolers. You get to meet the homeschoolers. Sometimes we feel a little bit like freaks. You know, everybody else is going to school and we're so brave, we're doing it differently. So now you get to meet some other freaks, some fellow freaks, and find out for them what is working for them and what would they do differently. That is really fun too, trading ideas. Yeah. Okay, that's so good. And if you live in an area that has a conference, I am ready to start speaking at conventions. I've been invited for the last 20 years, and I've only said yes once. But I'm getting over myself now. I'm going to be brave. I'm going for it. And please feel free to invite me. I would love to be there to help and to pass on the experience, but mostly just to encourage you. I loved homeschooling. Doesn't mean it was perfect every day, but we loved it well enough to do it for 20 years and all the different grades. So I would love to be able to kind of pass this on to you, pass the torch to the next generation of homeschoolers, and I'm hoping that you will as well. Oh, okay, it says that it's your first time, and are you going without the kids so that you can have a little me time, a little inspiration time? And that's great too. And she says, she doesn't know if her children are coming yet, but let's see what your husband is planning for that event. Yeah, it's really nice bonding time, isn't it? As I said in the beginning of this live, I went to a homeschooling conference because I was reading books by John Taylor Gatto and John Holt. I love the idea so much, but I was a little nervous. You know, it's such a big step. And so when I went to the conference and I saw how well the homeschool teens turned out, I called my husband. I said, okay, you got to come see this. You have to come see these kids. This is exactly what we were looking for. Hey, while you're there, I look at your name. It's so hard for me to see from its little tiny print. I'm just going to call you, I think it's Laura Mar, but Miss Bauza. Do you have any questions for me while we're on the live, or is there anything I can help you with? Any challenges happening in your homeschooling right now? Because you have me all to yourself for right now. I can see that there are other people on the live too. Hey, be sure to write something in the comment line as you come in. And we have a couple of minutes here. So if I can help with anything, I'm going to pause here just for a minute and stall for time in case you have a question. Either about conventions or about your homeschooling. So right now when I'm making this live, this video, it is March. And so for a lot of people in March, they're starting to feel pretty pressured about homeschooling. So for some homeschoolers, they're in a state where they're sick to death of winter. So they might have the winter doldrums. So be sure to honor that. If your children is experiencing that, get them out and changed up a little bit. And one of the things I really like to do in March is I like to work with the kids to establish our year-end goals. And I find that that really helps give us direction, gives me focus, gives me hope, because otherwise you can feel all the time that you're just so behind, you're never going to get it all done, and that's not a very nice way to feel. It's not a very powerful place to come from. So my advice for you too would be to decide, set your goals now, some realistic goals as to what you want to accomplish between now and the end of the year, and then talk with your kids too about how you're going to celebrate. Because you want to celebrate these little milestones along the way, and be sure to celebrate the end of the school year. I recognize too that many homeschoolers, in fact it's most, homeschool year round. We switch it up in the summer, but still it's nice to have those finish lines. You know, I used to set goals for the fall, and I had them for the winter. I had spring goals and summer goals, and it's very nice to cross the finish line, celebrate with your family, and feel a sense of accomplishment. So I'm so glad that you were here on the live. I'm so glad that you both a homeschool conference in Maine and one in Texas. Be sure to write in the comment line, where are you homeschooling? Are you going to a conference there? And most importantly, be sure to say hi to homeschool.com at the Greenville, South Carolina conference, March 8th through 10th, at the Houston, Texas conference, March 15th and 17th. And I will be speaking live in Cincinnati, April 12th and 14th. I would love to say hi to you, give you a hug, say hi to you in person. And then in Ontario, California, June 14th and 16th. And likewise, if you're in an area that has a conference, be sure to invite me, because I would love to say yes. I'm going to say yes, and I want to go there and be part of this beautiful experience with you. This is Rebecca Kokendorfer with Homeschool.com signing off for this week. I so look forward to connecting with you next week. Happy homeschooling. Hope you have a great week. Bye.